guys, how's it going? And welcome to the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. Pastor Sky over here in South Korea currently at the moment. And in less than a month, I will be making my recordings from another part of the world, but you'll know when we get there. Super grateful and thankful for everyone. Hopefully you guys all have been safe and being in God in Christ and just realizing and being thankful each and every day. So let's get into this series once again on hard questions for Christians. A lot of people commenting and calling me personally just saying that they're really enjoying this series right now. Today's question is one for people who have been in Christ for a long time, right? For, even for years or decades or whatnot. And a lot of people do come to me and they say that, hey, why do I feel distant from God even though I'm doing everything right? I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't changed my, I'm going to church. I'm praising with all my heart. I'm listening to the message. I'm doing my best to put it into action. How come I still feel distant from God? And there's many reasons why people feel this, but I'm going to go over three major reasons why people feel distant from God, even though they're doing all the things right. Let's go into the first one. And this is probably one of the most common ones is people misunderstand God, and this is why they start to feel distant. So you're doing all the right things. And the biggest problem is you may have a big misunderstanding of what it means to be close to God or having a relationship with God, right? Like that's the big thing. So one thing people misunderstand is that they think that doing these things for God is making you close to God. Because I go to church, I get close to God. Because I pray before I eat. Because I do this is why I'm close to God. But the thing you have to understand is the most important part to God is what? Is our love for God. And it is your love that propels you to do things for God, right? When you look at, when people have children, when people have lovers, brothers, sisters, whatever it is, it's because our love for them that we're compelled that even though they kind of make you upset, you're still compelled to do something for them because love is the basis for your relationship and it's not the doing of the things, right? What is the most important part for us and God? It is our love first. And that love propels us, regardless of what's happening in our life, to do these things for Christ. And if we start to get into that misunderstanding of what we do makes us close to God, then we kind of end up going down a road that is more superficial and it's based on the wrong reason. So let me give you a Bible verse in Matthew chapter 15, verse 8. And what it says is, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me, right? So you got to believe in the right reason. It's not what you do that gives the relationship between you and God. It is the love you have first, and that love should propel you to do those things. It makes you want to do these things for God. Let's get into the second reason. Second reason is this. If you have true faith, then you are never distant from God, which means this is another misunderstanding that people have. People are doing all the right things. They truly love God. They're doing more things for God. And what we know is, if you look in 1 John chapter 4, verse 7 and 8, we know that this verse basically tells us is, guys, guess what? At the very end of verse 8 is what? God is love, right? God is love. The essence of God is love. So in order for us to understand about our true relationship with God, we have to understand it from the perspective of love, right? So we need to understand our relationship with God in terms of love. And the one thing that you will realize as you go through life is that love is not a feeling, which means a lot of times people attribute that feeling of being close to God, that feeling, that fire, that passion, that stirring of our hearts means that we are close to God. But when we understand love, we know that love is definitely not just a feeling. If you ask people who are married for 50 years, they're not going to say that they felt love, they felt that fire in their hearts every single day. The reality is their love is not based on feeling, because feelings come and go. If they, think about this. If you really based your love on feeling, how many people would actually get divorced? Because how many times do you not feel that love for someone when you're fighting, when you're arguing, when you're misunderstanding each other? Love goes beyond feeling. It's about knowing, like truly knowing. It's like that conviction we have for God. And that conviction of love, it leads us to do what? to always take action or do for someone. So when you think about what true love is, you'll look at what they do for each other. Now, what does that mean? It means that regardless of what they feel, regardless of what they think, regardless of how upset and how angry they are at someone, they will still do for them. Why? Because they love them. If you look at your children too, guys, like a lot of you out there have children. If you only feed and clothe your children when you feel the love, your children would already be dead by now, right? Think about it. You don't always feel it all the time, right? It's not when you only feel that love. It's knowing that you love this person, knowing that there is this love between you that causes us to do for these people regardless of situation and circumstance. And this is why when you get married, you have a vow. And that vow is to love each other regardless of how good or bad the times are, regardless of sickness and in health, regardless of anything that happens, you will love this person beyond anything. Love is beyond an emotion and feeling. And sometimes when we think to ourselves that I am not close to God because I don't feel him, that is also a misunderstanding that people have. A true relationship with God is not based on how you feel. It is based on what you absolutely know. It's what you're convicted by. And you know what? I'll say this, right? If you have a relationship with God, the distance doesn't make a difference. Just like if you have a relationship with someone in the world, regardless if they travel across the world, just because they're distant from you doesn't mean the love goes away. You just love them no matter what, right? If you love God, it goes beyond feeling. So don't just search for that feeling to determine, am I close to God or not? It is far beyond that. Last but not least, reason number 3. What is it? A lot of times people grow distant from God. So now we're getting into you are actually distant from God. And the reason is you stopped growing. And a lot of times it's because we get complacent. It's because we get too comfortable in our faith. We stop growing. We stop thirsting for God. We stop seeking for God. We stop looking like, oh God, I want to know you more. And instead we kind of stay at the same level, which means it's very possible that you are doing all the right things, which means you go to church every Sunday, you go to the QTs, you go to the prayer meetings, you go clean the church, you're doing all the things that you're supposed to do. However, your love for God is not growing. And what happens is God has this unquenchable thirst and love towards us. So God's love for us is constantly growing. Now, if your love grows together, then you will always be close to God. But a lot of times, like we're saying, when you get complacent and comfortable, your love stops growing and you kind of stay in the same position. So imagine you stay at the same level of love, the same knowledge of knowing God, of knowing who God is, but God's love keeps growing. After time, what happens? The distance between you and God begins to grow more and more. We are called not to just believe and have faith. We are called to know God more and more. And if you look at Colossians chapter 1, verse 28, what it says is, Colossians chapter 1, verse 28 says, I lost the place here. It says, he is the one we proclaim, admonishing and teaching everyone with all wisdom, so that we may present everyone fully mature in Christ. Right? We are called to not just be children of faith. We're not called to just be beginners of faith. We are called to grow in faith until we mature, right? When people are children, they go by emotion, they go by feeling, and it's like, oh, I feel close, I feel far, I feel close, how far? But when you mature, your maturity goes beyond the emotion. Your maturity goes beyond distance, and it's just, I love God. I love this person. And because I love this person, I will never leave this person, right? We are called to grow and mature in Christ, but a lot of times we get too comfortable in our faith or too complacent, and we just kind of, we just kind of level off, and we just stay at the same level where God's love is constantly growing. And even while we're doing all the right things, because our love stays the same, our distance between us and God grows more and more distance, right? You stop wanting to know God, you stop growing, your relationship stops growing, And because God's love hasn't stopped for you and your love stopped, it means that that gap is widening each and every moment between you and God. So those are the three reasons, guys. And a lot of them have to do with misunderstanding, right? So, what's the first reason, guys? The first reason is you may be doing all the right things, but you misunderstand, right? What is the misunderstanding that you have? You start to have superficial faith because the core reason for your faith is no longer about your love for God, but it's just doing for God. And that's a big misunderstanding people have. The second reason is true faith never grows distant, but the misunderstanding is we're only searching for that feeling. And if you're only searching for that feeling, you're going to feel distant from God all the time. And third, the last one is probably the one that a lot of people are going through right now is you just stop growing, right? Your interest in God has waned and you've stopped wanting to know God more. And you kind of just complacent and happy with where you are. And that's why the distance is growing more and more. All right. So there it is, guys. That is today's podcast or today's Rebel Pastor video. Hope you guys really enjoyed it and hope it helps you guys out with understanding where you guys fit and where you guys are at right now with your distance from God and why you're in that position. All right. Everyone, enjoy. Have an amazing and awesome week. I pray that God will bless you, keep you safe until we meet again. Everyone, have an awesome day and awesome week, and we'll see you guys in next time on the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. Pastor Sky signing out. Bye-bye.
Rebel, never settle, I raise the level. It's time to go, sky's the limit, it's me against the world. Rebel pastor, ooh.